everyone, and welcome back to Psychology Eats. So, what's eating you? Well, I think for a lot of us, a lot of people, the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse is on a lot of people's mind. A lot of people, everyone, collectively, black, white, whoever. How did he get away with no charges? Now, I like to say, when the incident happened, he was 17 years old. I don't support mandatory sentencing for minors. So I never want to see a minor go to prison for the rest of his life when he's committed any crime, almost any crime. And that has a lot to do with his psychological makeup and all of that stuff too. Personality, does he have a personality disorder? All those things. So I don't know, the backstory. I don't know, I'm sure they did a bunch of psych evals and stuff like that on this young man. But he did a lot of things wrong that day. His parents did a lot of things wrong that day. They did a lot of things wrong prior to that day. And so when I look at and I didn't follow the details of the case. I did not. But from what we were told and what we know and what we saw with our own eyes, he broke laws. Moral laws, values, a lot of things. And his team of lawyers, which we have to think too, this family was not a rich family, but they hired rich attorneys. So, we follow that money trail. We know that some people with some money backed up that family and backed up what he did and backed up their own agenda in order for him to be able to afford the attorneys that he had. Which is a whole nother, dissection of what happened in this case. If you got money, you got the backing, you can manipulate the system, period. And this family, they didn't have any money. So their money came from some other sources. Which shows so much injustice even in that. We have so many black minors that are sentenced to long prison terms for not even a third of what Kyle did that day. Had he not been there, because he shouldn't have been there. He could have been there. He could have been there to protest against the protesters. He went there with the intent that he was a police officer himself. This is a 17-year-old brain. And his mother drove him there with a rifle. So, as we know how the law is now, he cannot ever be tried for that particular case ever again. But he can, and his parents should be held accountable through civil court. So I'm hoping the victim's family will seek civil justice for him and his family. That they should never make a dime or a nickel off of this case. And moving forward, every dime and nickel that Kyle ever makes, a percentage of that should go to the family of the victims. Because they are victims. And I don't care what their backgrounds were, because I've been hearing a little, they're dissecting the background, lifestyles or whatever of the victims, which should never even be brought up in court, but we all know that it is brought up in court, to gain the sympathy of the jury or whatever. But he at 17 years old, his life, he won that case. But moving forward, I have to believe that there are more good people in this world than bad. And that people are never going to let him forget what he did. Or his parents. Because the people that had an interest in helping him win this case will move on, and their support system in that will be over, and then you're going to be left with this broken kid who has to live with the fact that he murdered 2 people. And although, you might be getting some support, just as much support as you get you're going to get just as many naysayers and people that are going to call you a murderer, that are going to call you a racist, that's going to call you a snake, that's going to belittle you. So at 17 years old, him trying to move forward with his life, you didn't win anything. You did not win. Your life is destroyed. Kyle, unless you plan on moving to another country, people are never going to let you forget what you did. Or your parents. You got to live with your face on memes for the rest of your life. That's never going to go away. Your name is dirt in these streets. Your name is dirt. There are more good people than bad people. So for most people, even those jurors, your names will probably be leaked in some way, because nothing is secret anymore in this country or anywhere else because of social media. So although a lot of us are frustrated with the outcome, he should have got, not even an aggravated assault. Damn. Not even a misdemeanor, a fine. Nothing. But did he win in the long run? No. Did those, the victims lost their lives because they supported injustice and was protesting for the rights of everybody, but especially black people in this country. And Kyle, with the support of his parents and his community or wherever he came from, went to cause disruption in a peaceful protest. And that's exactly what he did. And not only that, but if we watch the some of the footage, the police officers who were also at that protest to make sure that it was peaceful, he walked, right past them with an open rifle. Clearly he was a kid, So the racism, the injustice for this case goes so deep, so many layers to it, and it's a lot of people talking about it. President Biden, basically said, it's our justice system. The jury spoke, and that's all we can do is go by that. And he's right. He's right. But like I said, I'm hoping that the family of the victims will go after the Rittenhouse family civilly and stay on them civilly. I don't care if the jury awards you $18 zillion that you'll never get because his family has no money. $18 zillion. I don't care if Kyle works at Walmart until he's 95 years old. I want a nickel. I want a nickel off of every one of his paychecks. This is your constant reminder of what you did. So, in conclusion, the fight for justice continues. The bigotry and injustice and racism in this country, once again, has clearly been recognized. And not only racism, but socioeconomic. Racism. The socioeconomic. This family was not rich, but they got money fed into their ability to get lawyers. I heard one of his lawyers talk about that they did mock juries. They created mock juries for him and did it in different scenarios. All of that costs money. All of that costs money. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Rifle Association or some other big organizations, KKK, whoever, supported his defense. Absolutely supported his defense, because they couldn't afford all of that. Most of us couldn't afford. I couldn't afford that if I needed to defend my black son. So, we've seen many cases like that where the rich get off because they have the ability to pay for absolute good defense. So, in conclusion, did I say in conclusion? I think I said in conclusion once before, but in conclusion, Mr. Kyle did not win anything. He won that case. He won that, but the overall outlook of his life, his parents failed him. Society failed him, because he was not born racist. He was not born an asshole. That was fed into him through his nurturing and through his environment. And for that, I blame his mama and his daddy, his uncle, his grandmama, his aunt, his cousins, his whole lineage failed him. he is a failure to your whole damn family. And he will pay socially and emotionally for the rest of his life. So in conclusion, again, we must continue to fight this fight, support our civil rights attorneys, and support the people who support civil liberties, injustices, support congressmen and senators who have same like thinking, even at the smaller level. I mean, we voted a couple of Tuesdays ago. We lost good seats because a lot of people did not come out and vote. And Democrats lost important seats because of that. So even small elections, we must vote. This is all we have at this point. We have, the ability to elect people who make laws and all of that. And we have to use what we got at this point. I mean, if you think back in 60s with Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders, they had everything against them. But what the racists didn't understand and didn't account for was that there are more good people in this world than assholes. And even though assholes oftentimes have the power, the good people can outweigh that and beat them. So Kyle wasn't born an asshole. His environment made him an asshole. His nurturing made him an asshole. And for that, they all are held accountable to what he did that night. So God bless the victims and their families. That you guys, they will not be forgotten, and their life will not be gone in vain. That we will fight and continue to fight for future, hopefully none, but if this was to happen again, any other possible victims of this. So that's it. That's all that I have to say about that subject. Everyone have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday. And bye.